What's up guys, and check it out! I snagged myself the Marvel Legends Taskmaster from the brand new Black Widow movie wave. Although if you follow me on Instagram you already saw that I found the whole case at Target. But what I find weird is that this is the first wave for the Widow movie and the box didn't have any street date on it. That's unusual. Now if they do the same thing for the Eternals movie figures, I think I may have a theory as to why. But that's still a while off, and until then let's go and take a look at this sweet figure. Now starting with the now empty box, we got the cool Black Widow logo as well as Taskmaster and a very cool Black Widow symbol in the background there. Here's one side with some sweet artwork, which is the same on the other side, and I'm really digging this heads-up display on his visor. It looks so sweet. And here's back with some wording if you want to read that, and some really sweet artwork. I don't know who the artist is, but man are they good. I love how it's cel-shaded and it just looks realistic at the same time. It's just anime-ish slash just modern. I really like it, guys. It's super awesome. And same thing with these figures here. You see the art style goes for all of them. Looks so sick. And of course here's the bottom with the UPC. Alright, now let's get into the figure, which looks really good. I'm really digging the details. They did a great job on them, and overall I think this screen look is actually not too bad. I didn't quite like it at first, but now I'm starting to like it. But let's take a closer look at his head first. Now you can see by the face they tried to emulate the skull of the comic book version, and overall it's kind of hit or miss. It looks more like a kind of fighter pilot helmet with the visor there, and then kind of a bulletproof skull mask that you see some of those spec ops people wear. But overall it looks pretty good. I like the details. The sculpting looks great. The paint is awesome as well, and I love the visor. It's super shiny. There's actually a tad bit of black bleed from the visor right at the bottom, but honestly it actually makes him look more menacing somehow. And the hood itself overall is pretty well detailed. I like the honeycomb pattern there, and the little orange stripe on the front here looks great as well. Got some wrinkles going on there and some seam lines as well. But if you notice here, there's some shiny spots and then also some dull spots, as you can see, especially right up here. I don't know if that was intentional, if they were supposed to make it all shiny or if it was supposed to be all dull, and this is just like really just a bad paint job. So that I'm not sure what's going on there. It kind of ruins the look, but at the same time we'll just have him face forward. Now I know the question of the hour is, does his hood come off? And the answer is absolutely not. It is glued on. In fact, let me just rip his head off real quick. First off, nice little scarf going on there on the bottom of the head. But as you can see with the head, if you flap this out here, there's actually details on the inside. Let me zoom on in there. There's some details on the inside, and it's actually painted. There we go. We can pick that up. Then there's the rest of the head. And then if you look closely up here, it looks like the details continue. So it looks like they glued this on, and if you really want to try, you can tear it off, and I bet you there's sculpting underneath. So I'm kind of thinking there's probably going to be another hoodless Taskmaster coming, probably in a 2-pack with the Red Guardian that has his mask on, because you know how Hasbro be. So that's probably what's going to be what's up, but you can probably make do with this one if you wanted to try, or just wait for that 2-pack or whatever. Now as for head articulation, the hood does stop him from going full 360, but he does get enough range to make him look pretty good, having good side to side as well, and he actually can go a little bit back and quite a bit forward, surprisingly, with his hood, so that's a plus. And moving on into his chest armor, there is a lot of detailed sculpting going on there. I love the sharp angles and then the just very crisp edges on his armor. It's just really well done. And of course the orange and blue paint just really pop. I really like that color combination that Marvel chose, although there's a little bit of bleed right here, as you can see, compared to that side. It's not too bad because overall it looks good, and just the bright orange kind of fools your eyes to not seeing the bleed, if that makes any sense. And moving on into the back, you got lots of details on his side there. It's pretty plain in the back. He's just got his backpack on and not much else, so that's pretty boring. And I like the belt too. Love this silver and blue going on there. Very shiny silver. Lots of sculpted details. Double pouch there. Pretty soft too, so it gets out of the way when you move his leg. Then you got the details on the back. Now this isn't actually glued on. It's just a free floating piece. As you can see, you can just move it up and down as you want, and it doesn't hinder the waist swivel either. Alright, now when it comes to his torso pivot, you guys got to check this out. Alright, this is really wacky. Alright, you go backwards, it's like, oh, okay, that's not too bad, you know, and the nice silver detail there, so it doesn't show the internals. But when you go forward, holy what? Look at how far forward he goes. I mean, let's move his arms back there. It's just like, you know, it's just like, what's up guys, and whoa, did I drop a penny? So yeah, it's really impressive torso pivot. I'm not sure why he bends so far forward, but hey, I'm not complaining. Now taking a closer look at his arm, he's got a nice little shoulder pad right here that's a little bit soft actually. It's glued on, but it's just so flush that it really doesn't matter that it's soft. You can't really do anything about it. It's silver, which is nice, and then you got some nice details there. Nice orange stripes there, some nice silver and orange there as well. Pretty nice detail overall. Same thing on this arm. Although something I do notice that's kind of weird is that if you look at this bicep right here, see how it's got a kind of even shiny coating, but then when you look at this one, it's like dull. So I don't know if they're having some like paint issues that they had up here, down here, but yeah. Oh well. And another weird thing is his arm articulation here. Now he has a double jointed elbow, and it's kind of an interesting elbow. If you look here, when you bend it like this, it stops right up here, and then when you try to get that second joint, it goes about that much, quite a bit. But when you bring this out, you can actually pop it a little bit more, and then this one doesn't go as far. So that's a very strange jointed elbow right there. And what really makes it really weird is, check this out. All right. What? I mean, look at that. It's just, it has that extra extension, and then it looks like, it's like, what is going on with his arm there? I'm not really sure what's up. Maybe in the movie, Black Widow like breaks his arms, and they're just, you know, letting you do that, and we will find out in the movie or something, or it's just something really weird he can do in the movie. I don't really know, but it looks really, really weird. Although a really nice thing that they added is his butterfly joints right here. As you can see, you can pull that out, or you can push it forward, and I find it easier, like when you try to push it back, you have to put a lot of pressure, but if you move the arm backwards and then just kind of use it as leverage, it goes a lot further. And what's really nice is when you do that, check this out, you got to make sure the arm pops out, because if you have it fully flat, it just pops it back forward. So make sure it's out, pop it out a little bit, and you can actually have him have that kind of a shoulders back, really just like, I'm gonna whoop you, instead of, you know, kind of the shoulders forward, typical of all the other figures. So I do really like, let me get a really good shot of that. I do really like that option and feature that they made, so it looks really, really nice. Even though I look like I'm struggling with it, it looks really good. Love it. And of course he also has the usual bicep swivel, which goes in a full circle, and his hands also spin in a circle and go backwards and forwards, and his arm goes in a circle, and his shoulder joint goes up. And there's a little issue I have with the shoulder joints I want to show you guys. Now, like I said, this is soft plastic, this silver piece right here, and when you move it up, you see that little piece right there, you can see it, that little edge, it actually hits the shoulder joint, as you can see, and it's actually been leaving marks, as you can see right there. Also, it's chipped the paint on this side, which is kind of annoying. This side, you can kind of see the marks as well. Let's see, not as much, it's right there, but when you hit it, you can see where it hits that section of the shoulder pad, and up, there you go, there's a mark right there. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, and so you gotta be careful about that. I don't know why that piece is there, but it's really annoying. Maybe you can just shave that down. Now, another possible issue that doesn't really bother me, but it could potentially bother some of you who are particular about your positions and posings or photography, is the arm. As you can see, it clicks. There's click positions, and that's normally fine for normal people like me, but if you need a certain pose, it could become a problem, because as you're starting to go, you're like, oh, there's the perfect pose, and it just pops out of the way. So that could be a nuisance, and I don't know why they did that. So yeah, you might want to be looking at a figure arts if you want to really get into photography and have superposing that doesn't pop. But moving in the legs, there's not a lot of paint. There's just the blue, silver, and then the orange, and then I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's lots of details going on. As you can see, you got that honeycomb pattern there, lots of wrinkles. He's got his kind of round booty there as well, and some Lego fart that came out of his booty. And then you got some more wrinkles is there, and then you got his boots here, which are nice and shiny, kind of reminds me of Iron Man. And I do like that shiny, because as you can see, it's very differentiated from the top, which is flat, and it seems like it's just one. Actually, it might be glued on, so that's probably how they did it. But hey, still looks good. Love the shoes as well, looking pretty awesome and shiny. And there's the bottom feet with peg holes and some legal fart retard and treads. Well, that is it for the figure, and now let's go and take a look at his vast amount of accessories. First off, let's start with his sword here with a nice little hole in the handle, as you can see. Overall, the details are pretty nice. I love this gunmetal colored kind of grayish thing, and then the sculpting as well. Love the details on it, but the paint is a little blotchy. You can kind of see on this right there. Yeah, you can see it now. It's a little blotchy. And I think the other side, yeah, the other side has a chip right there. So kind of a messy paint job, and you can't really see both sides. Can't see both sides in the box, I mean. So that's kind of a bummer. So that's hit or miss, and it's pretty bendy too. And then next is his bow and arrow, which looks really nice actually. The details are very just detaily, and you got some orange there, which is nice, some paint applications, and overall it looks really nice. And the front is actually, you know, it's bendy, but it's still fairly stiff. But the back here, it's almost like a actual bow and arrow, which is kind of interesting. So I whatever material they used for it is actually really nice because it springs, although I tell you what, it's not rubber, so yeah. And here's the arrow that goes with it, and if you, as you can see, the tip here is all kind of curvy and stuff, so that looks like something nasty. If you got hit by that, then you got the back end right here, and it's pretty flimsy too. Oh, and what's kind of cool too is that there's a little slot right there on the bow and arrow for the arrow to actually slide right into. As you can see, those that's a pretty nice touch. And I don't know, can we actually you know what, let me try this. I just have to. All right, let's see if this actually works as a bow and arrow, and meh, good enough. Now, in case you're wondering, it is not the same bow and arrow as the Endgame Hawkeyes. As you can see, they're very different styles, so you are not getting a rehash. And, oh, the focus! There we go, not a rehash. Then you get a shield here, which is pretty nice looking actually. It's very smooth. I love the orange there. Very crisp and clean paint. And then on the inside, it's kind of weird. You get this little flopper thing. You flop that down, and then that clips onto his arm. And I guess if he had a peg on the back, that would work great, but he doesn't. So, I mean, don't really know what the purpose of that is. So that's, I don't know, maybe stick it on some other figure. Then you get his bow and arrow / sword holding hands here, and his Black Panther claw hands. And what's kind of interesting is, like, obviously, you know, it's going to imitate the Black Panther in the movie, but you see the claws that come out, so it makes you wonder, did he like jack Black Panther's like nanotech as well, or is it just like, I don't know, mechanical? And here he is holding the bow with the back part pulled back, so that is an option, which is awesome. Or you cannot pull the stretchy part back and have a more traditional archer pose. Now, when it comes to his sword, I find that it fits best in his left hand because his right hand has that weird kind of trigger thing, so it doesn't fit too well there. As you can see, if you slide that in, it just kind of doesn't really hold all that great. So it's, yeah, definitely go with the other hand, like so. Looks so much better. And then as for the shield, you just get that little clip right there, and you just kind of pop it into his wrist, and there you go. Now he's ready to brawl with Captain America. And then we pop on the claw hands there, and now he's ready to go toe to toe with T'Challa. Meow. And now for some comparisons. Here he is next to his fellow Marvel Legends doppelgangers. Now this Widow here is actually the Infinity War one. I just took her vest off and replaced her head with the 2-pack that came with the Hawkeye figure. And for other comparisons, here he is next to the SH Figuarts Endgame Widow. And for some variety, here he is next to the DC Collectibles Nightfall Batman, the McFarlane Multiverse Superman, the Mafex RoboCop. And here's the Jazzwares Fortnite Chunky Chicken, or Sentinel Chicken, or just Sentinel. It's a chicken that's a robot. Well guys, overall they did a pretty good job on this figure, and I really dig it. Now he does have some flaws, particularly in the shoulder joint, but overall I think the figure is almost good enough to supplement the Figuarts version, especially considering the price. Unless you're hardcore into toy photography, of course, and in that case only the best will do. But for the rest of us, all 4 Movie Legends figures are still less than the price of the Figuarts US release, so I'm happy with that. And who up next for review is the Black Widow from this wave, so stay tuned for that. And until then, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and peace.